Hey, what's up, guys? So earlier today, the review embargo lifted for God of War Ragnarok, and so I just wanted to make a video talking about some of the critics' reviews for the game. At least for me, it's not surprising that this game, as of right now, is sitting at a 94 on Metacritic. Now, I do want to brag on myself for just a second. I did predict that this game would be at about a 94 or a 95 on Metacritic, and I actually said it would go up to a 95, and it actually did, but then it went back down to a 94. But a 94 is still insanely impressive, so I want to read from Twitter a few people's overall reviews of the game. Obviously, this is spoiler free. This is just people's overall thoughts on the game. So the first person I want to read is actually Jeff Keighley, because he was able to play the game early, and this is what he had to say about God of War Ragnarok. Quote, "God of War Ragnarok is a towering achievement, deeper, richer, and more expansive than its 2018 predecessor. It took me 30 hours to complete and is filled with many surprises I won't spoil. Truly incredible what this team achieved through COVID. This is why we play games." And he also went on by saying, "At the cutoff point for previews, I thought the game was great, but very much a follow-up to the 2018 game. After that point, things got much more interesting and helped this game establish its own identity. Can't wait for you all to experience it." And so yeah, I've heard from pretty much everyone that there's going to be a lot of surprises in this game that you wouldn't expect, and that the game does a really well job at subverting your expectations in a way that actually pays off. And so that's actually very cool to hear. So it seems like the story's going in one direction, and you feel like certain characters are going to do certain things, and then apparently they don't, but it's not like for a stupid reason. It actually makes sense. And so yeah, it seems like it's taken a lot of people like 25-30 hours to beat the game. I don't know if that's just the main story, because there was that rumor that came out that God of War Ragnarok's main story was 20 hours, and then the side content was another 20 hours. But then there was also another report that said that if you want to 100% get the platinum, it'll take like 50 to 70 hours, maybe even longer. Which obviously it just depends on how good you are at the game and what difficulty you're playing on. And also it seems like, Jeff is saying that like the early hours of the game, it feels very similar to God of War 2018, which that's not a knock at all. But apparently, like, once you get past the first few hours, it starts to open up more, and it starts to reveal its own identity, and it can stand on its own 2 feet, it seems like. Which, I've said this before, but I don't know why some people feel like each time there's a sequel, whether it's for movies or for games, that it has to be completely different than the original. If the original was a masterpiece, God of War 2018 is a masterpiece, so they didn't really need to change a whole lot. They just needed to improve on what made that game so great, and it seems like that Santa Monica did that. Now, the next person's review I want to read is actually SkillUp's review on Twitter. Apparently he's one of like the best reviewers when it comes to games, and a lot of people respect his opinion. And so this is what he had to say. Quote, "God of War Ragnarok concludes the epic of Kratos and Atreus so masterfully that it not only stands on its own as an extraordinary experience, but it imbues every prior step in that journey with a new, timeless significance." And so yeah, according to SkillUp, apparently this game is so good that it makes God of War 2018 even better. And that's always amazing. Like whenever like you play or you watch a sequel to something, and then it's so good that you go back to the predecessor and it actually makes it better. Like very few things actually can do that. And it seems like God of War Ragnarok has done that. Pretty much everyone has said that God of War Ragnarok has surpassed God of War 2018 in every single way. Graphics, gameplay, story, characters, writing, all that stuff. And so yeah, all these reviews are just getting me even more and more excited. I don't really base my hype levels on a Metacritic score, but I have to be honest, I am a human. Whenever a Metacritic score does come out, it does affect my opinion and my expectations going into something at least a little bit. Like, I'm going to be honest, if the Metacritic score came out and it was like an 80, I'd be like, oh, it seems like maybe it's not as good as it's supposed to be, which, I would only think like that for a second, and then I would throw that out the window because I like having an open mind going into new games. But the fact that this is sitting at a 94, and I mean, who knows, it might go up, it might go down when the game actually comes out. Now, the final review I want to focus on is actually more focused towards the side content in God of War Ragnarok, and this is actually from Gene Park, another like very respected game reviewer from what I've heard. And so this is what he had to say when it comes to the side content. Quote, God of War Ragnarok has finally dethroned The Witcher 3 with the best side quest I've played in an adventure game. The game's coolest fights, most heartfelt stories, and grandest areas are in the side quests. Do not skip them, unquote. And so yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest, when it comes to God of War 2018, I've played through that game like 3 or 4 times. I recently just did a playthrough last week to get ready for Ragnarok. And honestly, I've only done like a few side quest missions. I've only pretty much stuck to the main story, but it seems like this time around with the side content, apparently it's really, really good, and according to Gene Park, he's saying that it's better than The Witcher 3's. And I've heard from so many people that The Witcher 3 side content is the best side content or side quests that's ever been created in a video game, when it comes to like the narrative and just like the actual the actual content inside of those missions. I mean, according to this guy, it seems like God of War Ragnarok's side quests have surpassed those, so that's very, very high praise. Now, I mean, I am gonna at least try out the first few side quests for Ragnarok. I can't guarantee that I'll continue that, because if the story is as good as everyone's saying it is, I'm probably going to focus on that, because I'm just going to be so invested in seeing what happens next, and I don't really have anything to compare it to if I do, let's say, complete all the side quests, because like I said earlier, I've only done like 2 or 3 side quests in God of War 2018, and for most games I pretty much just stick to the main story, and then if I care about the game enough and I've already beaten the game, then I'll go back and do side quests. But it seems like in this game, some of the coolest fights and some of the best story moments and just the best areas, it seems like, are going to be in the side quests. So I mean, I definitely am going to give them a shot. And I mean, I've only ever played The Witcher 3 like twice, and only for a few hours, and I just, like life got in the way, so I just stopped playing. So I honestly don't know how good the side quests are in The Witcher 3, but it seems like in God of War Ragnarok they are very, very well thought out when it comes to like the puzzles and just like the areas and the enemy types. And so yeah, guys, I mean, those are just a few reviews that are pretty much the most popular ones that were on Twitter earlier today, and I just wanted to share my thoughts on them. And we are only a few days away from this game launching worldwide, and I've already got my copy downloaded, ready to go. And I've taken off work for this game. I cannot wait to play this game. It absolutely sucks that I have to wait, and most people have to wait a few more days to play this game. But I mean, whenever the game launches, I will pretty much be playing this game nonstop. And also, I don't want to say I will, but I am contemplating doing a review of God of War Ragnarok once I complete it. And so if you would be interested in watching that, let me know down in the comments if you would like to see my review of God of War Ragnarok whenever I beat it. And so yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it or found it informative, drop it a like and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss my next upload. Until next time, guys, take care.